Ambassador Professor Jacob at the highlights for tonight's bulletin. Go for a booster jab. Ministry of Health now says additional vaccine can be taken 6 months after the first dose.
Politicians, you have duty to carry on correct campaigns, not divisive but uniting campaigns.
Preaching for tolerance. Religious leaders urge politicians to avoid dividing Kenyans but seek unity. And pleading for the forgotten. Pope Francis calls on the world to think of those in turmoil as he delivers his Christmas message. Welcome back. Kenyans who have been fully vaccinated will be offered an additional dose of COVID-19 vaccine. The Ministry of Health says after review of the COVID-19 situation in the country, it is now necessary for those who have completed the primary vaccination to get another dose of either AstraZeneca, Moderna or Pfizer vaccine 6 months later.
According to the Ministry of Health, the addition of vaccine can be the same or different from the one taken during primary series. Acting Director General of Health Dr. Patrick Amoth says the guidelines have been informed by technical advice from the Kenya National Immunization Technical Advisory Group. In a statement released after the Ministry of Health came up with the updated guidelines on COVID-19 vaccination in the country, Dr. Amoth further indicated that where serious adverse reaction has been reported after vaccination, the individual should be switched to a different vaccine type. Dr. Amoth says individuals who have received the first dose of Moderna can now receive AstraZeneca as the second dose. In the updated regulation, Dr. Amoth says pregnant women should be offered either Pfizer or Moderna vaccines at any gestational age, at first antenatal care clinic, or at first contact with health services. The Ministry of Health recommends Pfizer vaccine be offered to those aged 15 years and above. The Ministry of Health targets to vaccinate 30 million adults by end of December 2022. Gishoki Washira, Legends Edition.
The rate of COVID-19 infection in the country is on a steady increase, with the positivity rate jumping to 32.7% on Christmas Day, the highest ever since the first case was reported in 2020. In the last 24 hours, 3,749 new cases were confirmed from 11,460 samples tested. Total confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country now stand at 281,358. Purity Museo reports.
On Christmas Day, Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate hit a record high after 3,749 people tested positive for the disease from 11,460 samples tested. The coronavirus positivity rate is now at 32.7%, slightly higher than Friday's 32.6%. 2 patients succumbed to the disease, all of them being late deaths reported after facility record audits. And as Kenya was recording increase in cases, travelers around the world were feeling flights cancellations said to be fueled by the Omicron variant wave. About 4,300 flights were cancelled around the globe on Friday and Saturday. Airlines in the US are continuing to be hit hard by cancellations following a spike in Omicron variant cases. FlightAware reported that more than a quarter of the flights cancelled for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day involved travel within, to or out of the United States, where the Omicron variant has helped create the 5th wave of illness just in time for the holidays. New Zealanders celebrated Christmas on Saturday in the warmth of the southern midsummer with few restrictions in one of the rare countries in the world largely untouched by the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. While India's health ministry reported on Saturday that daily COVID-19 deaths in the country have risen by 387, bringing the total number of deaths since the start of the pandemic to at least 479,520. Purity Museo, the Legends Edition.
President Uhuru Kenyatta is calling on Kenyans to share the gift of God's love by giving and sharing generously with all those in need in this Christmas message. In this Christmas message to the nation, the president said, as the year 2021 draws to a close, we should thank the Almighty for the grace, provision and protection extended to us as individuals, families, communities, as a nation and as humanity.
The president said the holy and festive season reminds us of our shared humanity and the common values that unite us irrespective of color, creed or country. The president said the new year that the season ushers in is an opportunity for renewal, fresh opportunities and building on the successes of the old year. The head of state said, as we contend with the worst public health pandemic in a century, the profound message heralded by Christmas over 2,000 years ago remains as relevant today as its teachings continue to inspire hope and possibilities despite the uncertainties that continue to confront us. He said the timeless message of God's enduring and unconditional love for every person fortifies us in times of adversity and challenges each one of us to be better as ourselves and to others. The president called on all to heed the call of the great unifier and leave any discord behind so that we may march boldly into a better future together. The President and the First Lady wishing Kenyans a Merry Christmas and bountiful returns now and in the new year 2022. The Deputy President William Ruto and his wife Rachel Ruto also took time to wish Kenyans a Merry Christmas, reminding them to share the joy of Christmas with the less fortunate members of the society and be there for each other.
In this season of goodwill and hope, let us thankfully rejoice for this opportunity to be there with each other and for each other.
Let us show compassion and let the light of God's abiding love lift up our minds, hearts, and spread to the world around us.
On behalf of my family, I wish you Merry Christmas, a peaceful and blessed 2022.
Merry Christmas.
Ben Troy Njue, 4 Legends Edition.
Pope Francis has warned that the world is becoming so desensitized to crisis and suffering that are now happening while hardly being noticed. In his annual Christmas Day message, the pontiff pointed to ongoing turmoil in Syria, Yemen and Iraq, as well as in areas of Africa, Europe and Asia. The Pope said the effects of the pandemic threatened efforts to resolve conflicts on an international level.
Thousands of Catholic faithful wearing face masks amid COVID precautions watched in St. Peter's Square at the Vatican as the Pope delivered his Urbi et Orbi address from the balcony of the Basilica. Pope Francis warned about the social consequences of the pandemic, saying there was a growing tendency to withdraw, to stop making an effort to encounter others and do things together.
Let us now turn to Him in prayer. Baby Jesus, grant peace and harmony to the Middle East and the whole world. Sustain all those who provide humanitarian aid.
He said that on the international level too, there is the risk of avoiding dialogue, the risk that this complex crisis will lead to taking shortcuts rather than setting out on the longer path to resolve conflicts. He singled out Syria, Iraq and Yemen, where an enormous tragedy overlooked by everyone has silently gone on for years, and also urged people to keep in mind continuing tensions between Israel and the Palestinians and the unprecedented economic and social crisis gripping Lebanon.
There is a sign of hope. Today, the love that moves the sun and the other stars, as Dante says, became flesh. He came in human form. He shared in our plight.
Turning to Asia, the Pope asked God to comfort the people of Afghanistan, who for more than 40 years have been tested by conflict, and to sustain the people of Myanmar, where intolerance and violence targeted the Christian community and its places of worship. He also prayed for peace to come to conflicts in other trouble spots around the world. including Ukraine, Ethiopia, and the Sahel, which has been a front line in the war against Islamist militancy for almost a decade.
That through dialogue, mutual respect, and recognition of the rights and cultural values of every human being, the values of solidarity, reconciliation, and peaceful coexistence may prevail in the hearts of the peoples of the Americas.
Earlier, Pope Francis, who is 85, marked Christmas Eve with the Mass at the Basilica, where he had followers to show more compassion towards the poor and to value the little things in life. For Legends Edition, I'm Ruth Wamboi.
Politicians have been urged not to divide Kenyans along tribal lines in their quest for power in the 2022 general election. Speaking during a Christmas church service at All Saints Cathedral, Anglican Church Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit says there is need for the politicians to face the next election with soberness. His sentiments were echoed by Nairobi Archbishop Philip Anyolo, who was separately leading a Christmas Mass at Holy Family Basilica, where he cautioned politicians against spewing hate amongst Kenyans. Timothy Kipnusu has the details.
The message of peaceful coexistence reverberated during the Christmas church services across the country. Anglican Church Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, while leading the congregants in celebrating Christmas Day, called on politicians to exercise decorum and soberness in their politics in a bid to avoid dividing Kenyans along ethnic lines.
Let us approach it with sober minds and make this 2022 the most peaceful year that Kenya's history have known in an election year. I also want to encourage those who are looking for votes not to divide Kenyans according to either ethnic blocks or according to any other differentiation.
Sentiments that were echoed by Nairobi Catholic Archbishop Philip Anyolo, who led the Catholic faithful for Christmas Mass at Holy Family Basilica, where he urged those eyeing different positions in the next general election to campaign peacefully without causing violence.
Politicians, you have duty to carry on correct campaigns, not divisive but uniting campaigns, so that as a country we may journey together towards God.
The two church leaders further emphasized the importance of giving and helping the less fortunate in the society.
Sisi wote ambao tunao, hata tukiwa na kidogo, tuwasaidie wenzetu pia nao pia wapate chakula ama wapate cha kujisaidia wakati wowote.
Normally we go and party and do things, and sometimes we overindulge in things that intoxicate our bodies and impair our judgment, like alcohol and other substances. That is not the meaning of celebration.
If we want to demonstrate the true Christmas, is to show solidarity, is to show support.
They called on Kenyans to inculcate the values of humanity by loving one another and shunning the evil. But for the faithful, the food of the soul was not only enough. Their concern was the high cost of living and the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic that have made life unbearable.
Fuel has really gone up. Hopefully that it comes down so that everything also goes down.
Economy imekuwa juu, vitu zimekuwa bei ghali.
Christmas ni kupeana, ukiwa nayo patia rafiki pia asherekee.
Today is very important because it's Jesus' birthday and we all have to celebrate it.
Ujumbe kwa vijana ni kwamba najua campaigns zimeanza, taka tuchague kiongozi ambao wanaweza kutusaidia nchi yetu ili iweze kusonga mbele.
Even as Christians all over the world celebrate Christmas, a very important day in their calendars, they celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. It is evident that the true meaning of Christmas is all about giving, a message that reverberated the air from most of the Christians we interviewed at a time when many of them are going through harsh economic times occasioned by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Timothy Kipnusu for Legends Edition, Nairobi.
The closure of Nairobi's major public recreational facilities, Uhuru Park and Central Park, left many city residents who usually throng the venue for leisure a disappointed lot. The revelers were forced to look for alternatives or share the little open space near the newly constructed Green Park bus terminus following the fencing of the entire Uhuru Park facility by the Nairobi Metropolitan Services for renovation. And as Zainab Said reports, the turn of event did not dampen the residents' celebration mood.
It has been an annual tradition for Nairobi County residents who don't make it to the upcountry to visit Uhuru Park to mark this important day in the Christian calendar, Christmas. And this year was no exceptional. But for those visiting the recreational facility for the first time in many months were in for a rude shock.
Ni strange sana because sasa wametupandishia vitu kwanza, first of all. Vitu zilikuwa tunatumia 50, sasa ni 100. Vitu za 100 sasa ni 200. So kikuwa na watoto kama 10 ni ngumu.
The entire facility, save for a very small portion, was sealed off for renovation. But the new development did not deter the city residents from looking for Plan B or C for that matter. Walking at a faster pace without tripping is almost impossible here. The usual benches are no more, forcing the revelers here to improvise. And with the spike of COVID-19 cases, majority here are now worried of being among the statistics.
Space imekuwa kidogo. Angalia wote tumejaa hapa hivi, wengine tumekosa space.
Traders say they are struggling to cash in following the closure of the park.
Hakuna leo biashara huku watu waingi. Kwa hivyo leo tuko na shida sana, hakuna biashara, Uhuru Park ni mbaya sana.
Kwa saa hii biashara na iko tu chini. Space na iko ndogo sana. Naona watu wa magari wako wengi. Sasa hata kuna space, tunaomba tu serikali watupe nafasi kubwa kidogo.
Leo ni kusukuma tu tuone itakuwa, lakini watu hawajatukuja wengi wenye wanakujaga.
Nonetheless, the squeezed space at Uhuru Park paved way for emergency of other temporary recreational sites.
Imetusaidia sana kabisa because today we are having more numbers than venye hata tunakonga Uhuru Park. Hapa iko crowded sana.
They say necessity is the mother of all inventions, and with a bigger part of Uhuru Park closed, Aga Khan Walk came in handy for the Christmas celebrations. For the Legends edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Holidaymakers in the coastal city of Mombasa had more than enough as they celebrated this year's Christmas Day with relaxed COVID-19 restrictions compared to last year. And as our coastal reporter Ann Buru reports, donning of a mask for those accessing the public beaches was a must.
In their numbers, revelers made their way to the Jomo Kenyatta public beach to enjoy the sandy beach and coastal sun. Police officers on patrol were on high alert to ensure that everyone accessing the beach is safe and donning a mask. Revelers enjoying every of their moment, perhaps to recover what they missed last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Tunasikia raha sana kwa Christmas kama huu, lakini sasa iliafektiwa na corona, lakini sasa tunashukuru kwa government na watu wakubwa kwa kutufungulia.
Tumekuja kuenjoy beach. Tulikuwa tumefungiwa lockdown for 2.5 years. We have been protecting ourselves and now tumechukua vaccines. Then mnaona watu wako wengi, tunavaa mask, we are taking care of ourselves, tunaomba Mungu, we are alive. So what I can tell you ni just take care of yourself, enjoy this December holiday.
Unlike the previous years, the big number of people visiting the coastal town this festive season did not affect traffic flow within and without the town. And as the country gears up for the general elections next year, politicians have been urged to tone down in their rhetorics and ensure we have a peaceful election.
Mwaka inaokuja 2022 tunaomba na amani, Mwenyezi Mungu atufungulie na kheri, atupatie baraka katika nchi yetu Kenya. Na tusilete uchuki katika siasa inaokuja mwaka ujao.
Tuwe na peace, tuwe watu kimoja, tusipigane kwa sababu mwenye utapigana naye ndo brother yako wa kesho.
For the Legends edition from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
At least 6 roundabouts in Mombasa town have undergone a major facelift, which has brought a new face to the tourist resort city. The beautification project, which was carried out at a cost of 72 million shillings, is designed to depict Kenya's wildlife, flora and fauna. The remodeled roundabouts were officially opened to the members of the public on Christmas Eve.
6 roundabouts in Mombasa town have undergone a major facelift, which has brought a new face to the tourist resort city. The beautification project, which was carried out at a cost of 72 million shillings, is designed to depict Kenya's wildlife, flora and fauna. The remodeled roundabouts were officially opened to the members of the public on Christmas Eve.
Visitors driving into Mombasa Island through Makupa are now welcomed by the sight of the rehabilitated Makupa roundabout. The remodeled appealing roundabout is dotted with huge statues of elephant, cannon guns, former President Daniel Arap Moi's baton that was famously known as a symbol of power, leadership and national cohesion, and a variety of desert rose flowers.
Ambapo zimeshughulikiwa na zimewekwa vitu tofauti, sio vitu za pesa kidogo, vitu za pesa nyingi.
According to the Mombasa Cement Beautification Manager Imtiaz Sayani, the project was designed to depict Kenya's wildlife, flora and fauna. There are 5 other roundabouts which have been beautified, including the ones in Pandya, Markiti, Mombasa Port Entrance and outside the Mombasa Sports Club in Ganjoni. According to Sayani, the beautification was inspired by Mombasa's effort to become the best tourism hub in Africa, where different statues representing different wildlife and marine animals line up the roundabouts.
Tumeweka hii Masai kuvutia tourism ya Kimasai.
The remodeled roundabouts were officially opened last night to the members of the public. Beatrice Getonyeng-Etich, Legends Edition.
And now we'll take a short break. In the meantime, stay tuned for our Living Legends segment. Our guest tonight on this special Christmas edition is specialist dentist, teacher, community servant, author and diplomat, Ambassador Professor Jacob Kaimenyi. Stay with us.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya subira, bonyeza *811*397#.
Mwanangu, ujihunywewa ukiwa moto. Supu pia ni tamu na moto wake. Ila hasira ukipa kwa moto, moto wake utakuchoma. Hasira moto itachoma urafiki. Hasira moto itachoma kazi. Hasira moto itachoma ndoa. Ukiacha ipoe, basi hubadilika kuwa msamaha. Unapomaliza mwaka.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya subira, bonyeza *811*397#. *811*397#.
This could be your sister, brother, or you. Say no to gender-based violence. Say no to GBV. This message is brought to you by the Government of Kenya.
It's the season of sharing and making merry, and your favorite TV station is here to make your Christmas more memorable. Watch KBC Channel 1 this holiday season and stand a chance of winning thousands of shillings in cash prizes and shopping vouchers. Look out for our trivia questions and get rewarded for answering the questions correctly. KBC Channel 1, giving you 1,000 reasons to be happy.
Welcome back. Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai has sent a stern warning to lawbreakers, especially during the festive season, saying security agencies are on high alert to curb any form of insecurity. Speaking at Athi River this morning, Muchambai said the police service are working with all concerned security stakeholders to ensure the safety of Kenyans during the festive season. The IG further urged Kenyans to give crucial information that will aid police in enhancing security across the country. Muchambai at the same time cautioned motorists against road impunity and speeding.
Ensure Kenyans enjoy their Christmas day. Once again, I would like to reiterate, we are all part of the security arrangements. Mwananchi yoyote atakuwa na information inahitaji ifike kwa police. We are ready to cooperate and get any security information for our action. I encourage all the members of public to share what information concerns security to the police officers, not the speed which is dangerous to the Kenyans and your fellow Kenyans in the road. Also, I advise Kenyans, let us avoid moving in one vehicle as a family, because we want to take care of your family. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
A section of political leaders in Wajir County have launched a relief food drive in aid of Kenyans affected by drought in the region. The leaders donated food items including sugar, cooking oil and rice to the most affected families. This and more stories in news making headlines in the counties.
Speaking after distributing over 80 tons of relief food to residents affected by drought, Wajir County gubernatorial hopeful Hassan Welie and Al Imdad Foundation Abdurrahman Skandal said the move was aimed at supporting vulnerable families and special groups in drought-stricken areas.
People of these areas are mainly pastoral and they have been affected 99%. The other people who live in towns are maybe the people who you can say have not been affected. The others, 99% have really been affected. So we urge all stakeholders to come in, support these processes, support the people, and also relieve this situation.
Meanwhile, 2 women are nursing injuries at Maragua after they were attacked by their respective husbands. Alice Wairimo's ear was chopped off while Joyce Waidera's finger was cut. The 2 husbands are now in police custody.
Akanipata kama nimerara hapo kwa kiti, akanigoga na stool kwa kichwa, nikatupa fahamu. Sasa vile nilitupa fahamu sijui alinikata na nini sikio.
Hiyo ingine siku ya Thursday aliamka usiku akaanza kunidunga na kisu. Sasa nikijizuia ndio nilikatakata mikono.
Finally, over 50 people with disability from Thika have received Christmas gifts from a well-wisher to celebrate Christmas. Speaking when receiving the foodstuff, beneficiaries led by Peter Gasimbu lauded the move, urging other well-wishers to remember the less fortunate in the society.
Tusaidia sana, tumefurahi sababu hata hatukuwa na kitu ya kukula. Unaona sasa sisi ni vilema na sasa ametusikilia huu huruma na tunarudisha shukrani sana.
Nimekuja nikiwa sina kitu, saa hii nimejaza kiondo yangu.
Kila mtu Topi Liambila is all set with the latest in sports.
Thank you very much, Fayaz, and good evening and welcome again to the sports segment of the Legends edition this Saturday evening on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, where the Kenya Volleyball Federation KVF will embark on a revamping volleyball school of excellencies across the country in a bid to create a stable and vibrant national team starting next year. This is according to KVF Vice President Charles Nyaberi, who reiterated that the federation will ensure the national beach volleyball teams will qualify for 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England. Mwoki prepared this report for us.
To create a stable, vibrant and well-performing team for Kenya in the coming seasons, Kenya Volleyball Federation will embark on revamping the volleyball school of academies across the country.
And centers of excellence that have a target, and they have a similar program for all of them. And we're also going to make sure that the coaches who are there are more empowered, are better positioned to handle that.
The Federation has promised to prepare the national beach volleyball team early and help the teams qualify for 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England.
The Commonwealth Games are very flexible. I've not heard of beach volleyball being there, and this time now that it's there officially, we're going to go high and low, to try high and low and make sure that our teams qualify. Our teams have the potential. I'm almost certain, I can almost tell you 99.99% both of our teams will be there.
The last time the Kenyan team was in action was during the Tokyo Olympic Games, where the ladies quartand of Gaudecia Makoha, Braxi Zagala, Yvonne Wavinya and Foshia Kasisi represented the nation in the games. Frederick Muki for Legends Edition.
Now, former British long-distance runner and three-time winner of the London Marathon, Paula Radcliffe, who is in the country for a campaign on Africa and the African continent to save the lives of children, has opened the Children's Cancer Hospital at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret. Radcliffe led the other 30 retired athletes running 80 kilometers from Londiani to Eldoret to raise funds to build the 250 million shilling facility. Mwoki with our report today.
When Isla Love was diagnosed with cancer last year, it created panic among the Paula Radcliffe family. Due to the improved healthcare services in England, she was healed from the killer disease.
Dear to my heart, because in 2020 I was diagnosed with cancer, and after 1 week of being diagnosed I was already given treatment, and here kids can't even ever get treatment when they get cancer. The survival, so in developed countries 1 out of 10 children die of cancer, but it makes me so sad that in sub-Saharan Africa 9 out of 10 children die of cancer. The odds are completely flipped.
This inspired the former marathon record holder and initiated a campaign on African continent to save the lives of children by opening up a children's cancer hospital at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret.
I wanted to do what I could to try and change that, to try and give kids here the same chance that kids everywhere else get to overcome cancer and to beat it, and for their parents also to have that chance for their children. So we started thinking about the best ways that we could come together.
And anybody who knows, a child who's being treated with cancer should not be in a building with lots of germs floating around. And inside our overcrowded hospital that has over 200 inpatients and 200 outpatients every single day, there are lots of germs floating around. So if you're a child with a cancer, you need to be isolated. Then I heard the numbers, and the numbers horrified me.
Radcliffe led other 30 retired athletes running 80 kilometers from Lodiani to Eldoret to raise funds to build the facility. The Equator Run attracted over 30 retired athletes that included former athletics top cream Mary Keitani, former world 3,000 meter steeplechase record holder Moses Kiptanui, former Commonwealth Games marathon champion John Kelai, among others. Frederick Mwoki for Legends Edition.
Now, Manchester City's Riyad Mahrez is set to captain Algeria's Atlas Lions in the Africa Cup of Nations after he was named in the defending champion squad. The 2022 Africa Nations Cup kicks off on the 9th of next month, January, in Cameroon. Now, Rose prepared us this report. That's all we had for you this evening from the Sports Roundup. But remember to join us again this very sporting week during the Christmas week, and again next week for another edition of the Legends Edition. Now, coming back to, just before I wind up, Fayaz, early in the week we had, Tom do as a gig. And I know that, you are Elvis Presley impressionist. Blue Suede Shoes. When are you going to do that for us?
I think make sure you dance along, eh?
Of course. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready anytime. Anytime.
Let the viewers shake a leg.
Yeah, of course they'll be shaking a leg.
On Christmas night, eh?
You know, there's so much talent here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah?
So come on. All right. This is without any music.
Oh, yeah, without any music.
So this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we can rock to this rhythm as the Christmas night progresses, right?
Of course, why not? Blue Suede Shoes.
Right. Well, should I start? Okay. So I'm going to go this way. Well, it's a 1 for the money, a 2 for the show, a 3 and get ready now. Go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. Well, you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Well, you can knock me down, step in my face, slander my name all over the place. Well, do anything that you want to do, but lay off them shoes, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. Well, you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Well, you can burn my house, steal my car, or drink my liquor from an old fruit jar. Well, do anything that you want to do, but honey, lay off my shoes and don't you step on my blue suede shoes.
Wow.
Well, you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes.
Look at that. I mean, that talent. And we've got it all here at the KBC. This was great, and I think you look forward to another great performance, of course, just on KBC Channel 1. We are only just giving you a glimpse of what's happening. Now, overview, obviously, from Topi Liambila, I say goodbye for tonight and hand you over now to Fayaz with the Blue Suede Shoes to wrap up.
Right, we'll take a short break and go straight to our Living Legend interview segment. Thank you. Join us.
My youth, my treasure. I will use it to positively build my country Kenya. Kenya all the way. Kujenga nchi ni wajibu wetu kama mayouth. Tujitokeze, tukae rada. This message is brought to you by the government of Kenya.
Welcome to the Living Legends. I'm Fayaz Qureshi. Specialist dentist, teacher, community servant, author and diplomat. That is the profile we would use to describe our guest on the Living Legends. He is a member of the pioneering dentistry class at the University of Nairobi and later heading the faculty. Served as a cabinet secretary and had to overcome advances that were against his ethical and moral code, and is now Kenya's ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg and the European Union. On the Living Legends, we hear from Ambassador Professor Jacob Kaimenyi. Professor, it's an extreme honor. Welcome to the Living Legends. You are a real living legend, and it's an extreme honor to be sharing the same space with you here. So let's get rolling, and of course go back, way back, we rewind. Your early life and education at primary and secondary school.
Thanks so much, Qureshi, for giving me this opportunity to tell the Kenyan people about myself. I was born in Imenti North constituency in a location called Muradankari, way back on the 10th of July 1952. And I went to Standard 1 in 1961. All the way to Standard 7 in 1967. After that, I qualified and went to middle school. And those days, middle school was amongst the few schools in the entire Meru district. And I studied there for about, as usual, for 4 years. And I qualified to go for my A levels in the then Kenyatta University, which had a higher secondary school division.
How was the setup of A levels at the Kenyatta College at that point in time? How were the standards?
Yes, the standards were extremely high. You'd be surprised to hear that amongst the A level leavers or the schools, including the alliances of this world, we used to take literally the entire class from Kenyatta University to go and do medicine. Because our focus basically in Kenyatta University, higher secondary school division, was mainly science, biology, chemistry, physics, and mathematics, right? For example, in our time, when we finished in 1973, 98% of us went to do medicine and dentistry. So you can imagine.
That is a fantastic record.
Yes.
98%.
98%.
Wow. Specialization in medicine.
Yes.
What was your student experience?
Wonderful. And one of the challenges that we had, as you'd expect, when you're a pioneer class, first and foremost, not many people are familiar with the training of dentistry. We had to get some of the medical doctors to go and teach us medical aspects of dentistry. So they were not very happy about that. Some of them, I won't say all of them, some of them.
Right.
I'm saying some were not happy because I remember one moment, one of the foreign lecturers walking into a class, you can't believe it, and was wondering what he was to teach to dentists. And I stood up because I was a class rep. I told him, you have no business in being here if you do not know why you are here in the first place. He changed, he became red. But thank God, because of that, he taught. From then on, he taught very well. The other challenge we had was, again, the medical students feeling the classrooms were theirs. So when there was competition as to who should be where at what time, they thought they are the ones who should be there, which is not the case. You know what I'm trying to say? Of course. But again, we struggled. We fought against that, and it became the norm. So everybody knew where they should be. Are we together? The other most interesting thing was, of course, the competition between ourselves, pharmacy students, because we did similar subjects, such as anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. We did same subjects. And you can imagine, therefore, when we sat for university exams, there was that question or that query, who want to do better than the others?
Extreme competition.
And I can tell you, yes, either group, anyone will do well. I remember once or twice reading the entire group on a specific subject. And that gives some of us a lot of courage, a lot of encouragement to soldier on and be very good students, be good dentists thereafter.
Because you're all dedicated and you're all competitive, striving for the best.
Yes.
You get the best out of yourself.
Correct.
And overall, I guess.
Yes. That's exactly what happened. So again, the other challenge was that once we left, of course, posting was not easy. We had to be posted now, all of us, to the former Kabete Yameno. You remember Kenyatta Yameno? That's where we did our internship after the final year exam. That's where we went. We started as a group of about 18 dental students, with one from, it was Lesotho. So the others were all from Kenya, basically. Yeah? And it's a wonderful moment with bright students, and all of us made it, basically.
How would you describe your first year in real practice?
Let me look at it from two perspectives. First of all, when you lived in dental school, you employed as an intern. That's the first year. So let me talk about first year as an intern. As an intern, it is challenging because one, of course, you are supposed now to practice what you have been taught.
So
and then dental
theory
school,
into practical now.
Now theory into practice. And remember, you are dealing with very experienced clinicians. You don't want to let them down or let your teachers down. You must demonstrate that you have been trained well, right? The other thing is that, of course, you are working in a new environment. Apart from having all these senior colleagues, you are in a new environment where you have all these nurses whom you are not familiar with. And therefore, it's a challenge of making friends with these people so that you can do well. And the other thing is, remember, when you are an intern, these people are the ones who certify you to be registered by the medical practitioners and dentist council as a dentist subject to your performance. Therefore, you must be able to impress them by way of your behavior.
You have to be at your best.
Yes, at your best in terms of skills, competencies, and what have you. That's my first level. And to me, it was wonderful because at Kabeti Amen at that time, remember, most of the people were British trained, of Asian origin. We didn't have many whites, but the majority were of Asian origin. And they were wonderful people. We had wonderful time really with those men and women. So my internship by Massey was very nice, so to speak. And I want to believe I did well because when it came now for us to be posted to, after internship, to various district hospitals in Kenya, my boss decided that amongst the 18 dentists, it was only me who was to remain at the dental school, at the dental clinic. The only other person remained because he and a senior relative who was working in the Ministry of Health.
Excellent. So you joined the University of Nairobi as a lecturer in 1985.
Yes.
And rose through the ranks via fellowships to associate professor.
Yes.
Besides teaching, this appointment comes with research work, obviously. Tell us about how our diets, our social behavior, like substance abuse, leads to poor dental health, and what are the recommendations that you would have for our viewers?
First of all, I would want you to know Qureshi. I rose from a lecturer to senior lecturer, associate professor, and full professor. I was the first full professor of odontology in Kenya and in East Africa. I want you to know.
So you went through all the ranks,
all
the highest level.
To full professor. There are very few professors in this country. Full, not associates. Full. Because even when you become a full professor of any university, the first thing that you should do, if you are what you are sought, is to present what is called an inaugural lecture, which speaks to what the research that you've done and who you are. I was the first dentist to give an inaugural lecture. I don't think anybody else has done it. So, amongst the few
commendable
in the University of Nairobi who have given inaugural lectures, so I've done that. And to answer your question, you know, the mouth is more or less the entry, as you know, of the body. And whatever obtains or happens in the rest of the body can affect the mouth. And what you eat or what you eat can also affect. What you eat what you chew. And I'll give you examples so that you can appreciate. You know, people say if you smoke, if you chew tobacco or you smoke, your mouth smells like a can. I'm sorry for those who smoke because it's not a good thing. Your girlfriend might never tell you or your wife how they dislike that smell. So I want to tell people, please remember, when you smoke, yeah, it has an effect. Not only
your mouth smells like an ashtray.
Yes, and then the other thing which you need to know is that smoking itself also might have some drying effect on your mouth, apart from causing oral cancer. That drying effect again has a tendency to encourage bacterial accumulation on the gums and on the teeth, whose consequence is what I've told you. You end up with a gum disease. You see what I'm trying to say? You might also come from an area where the fluoride level is very high. Now, sasa wewe, especially from a borehole.
That's the fluoride level in the water.
Yes. If it is beyond, say, for example, you hear it's supposed to be less than maybe 1 part per million, but you hear some people, they drink water which is several tens or 20 parts per million. That water is dangerous. It's dangerous for two reasons. Like if you come from areas like Muranga, you come from Kiambu here, where the levels are very high, you can suffer from what is called disabling fluorosis. To the extent that there is deposition of fluoride on the spinal cord. You can't even walk.
Wow.
Yeah, it can be a serious problem.
Serious, eh?
Apart from that, if your children, as they grow during teeth formation, fluoride is deposited in the structure of the tooth. That's why you see some teeth are brown, or fluorotic teeth. And it can be so severe, Qureshi, to the extent that the teeth chip off. Other than looking very ugly, of course, they chip off.
Yeah.
And they don't look nice, as you know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, yes.
And the management of dental fluorosis is not easy. And even if you have to say you defluoridate the water, it's virtually impossible. Because the methods used are very expensive.
What's your secret of success?
Yeah, well, the secret, of course, of this success, one is God's grace. Mungu, baraka za Mungu. And of course, handiwork and focus.
I think it's so important to have faith.
Very true.
Faith is the foundation of everything.
Yes, yes.
That's where the success comes.
Correct. I apply what is called pendant principle in my life. So what does pendant? That is P-E-D-I-D. P stands for prayers.
First and foremost.
Yes. E stands for exercise. D-I stands for diet. And the other one is discipline.
You've had such a prolific career now. Let's take a leap. In 2013, first it was all about dentistry. Now you were appointed the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Science and Technology. Now let's tell us a little bit about your experience in streamlining examination administration, the laptop program, challenges and opportunities, review of school management structures, ensuring universities are academically and economically viable. This is a very interesting post.
Let me see. Yes, I hope I can be comprehensive enough to address that issue. First of all, it was a great honor for the president to appoint me as the first Cabinet Secretary post the 2010 Constitution. Cabinet Secretary for Education. The first Cabinet Secretaries were supposed to be professionals, no politicians.
Right.
And there is merit in that because you focus as a professional.
No, 100%.
In what you are grounded in, and you do it very well. Now, when I went in Qureshi, there was something called Education Act, but it had not been made operational. There was also Universities Act. Both were not made operational. So, and to operationalize them by coming up with the rules and regulations. Some of the very interesting rules, Qureshi. You remember those days, students were forced to repeat classes.
Yes.
Particularly at standard 6 level. You could find a child crying, oh, mom, dad, I don't want to repeat a class at standard 6.
Yes, because he would get mentally affected.
Correct.
By the whole situation.
So we decided as part of the regulations, no child shall be forced to repeat. Above standard 6, no repetition at all. That's number one. The other thing which I discovered, which was terrible really, is the issue of examinations. People are taught just to memorize what is called rote learning, just to pass exams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cramming, not understanding. No understanding, but just cramming the whole
Correct,
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
To the extent that children are no time to play over their holidays. That is why I banned tuition during the holidays. Unfortunately, somebody returned it, and I can tell you it's not correct. Children, by their very nature, must be given an opportunity, Qureshi, to be who they should be, to play. Again, in his wisdom, the president decided to move me from Minister of Education, Minister of Lands. Bearing in mind that there are so many laws to be implemented in the Minister of Lands, and to learn a lot, which I did. That's number one. And what I found, Qureshi, and anybody who is listening to me, there was something called National Land Policy. This policy had not been implemented because it lacked laws to operationalize the policy. So we had to come up with a raft of laws. And I'm very happy you have done that. Chief among them is the historical land injustices law. I was very happy because when I came in, there was, of course, we had all these commissions, Dongo Land commissions, I don't know what, all manner of commissions, but they have not been implemented. They are not being implemented. One, because they were sensitive. Those commissions, they could have easily brought any government down anyway.
Right.
Yeah. But if you follow the law, I don't see the reason why people should be scared.
You are now the Kenyan ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg, and the European Union. Tell us more about this role.
It was very exciting for me to be made an ambassador, to represent Kenyans, and to the best of my ability. When you become an ambassador, it's very challenging. It's very challenging because, unlike being a minister, you have to be very versatile in terms of knowledge. You are answerable about literally everything about your country on behalf of the president and the people of Kenya.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Whether it is ICT matters, whether it's land issues, whether it's agricultural issues, you are it's like the expert. You are the reservoir, so to speak, of your nation.
Yeah, you're the front man.
Yeah, therefore, you must be able to read quickly, be abreast with what is happening back home, most of the time, even not all the time, so that...
You're rubbing shoulders on a daily level.
Correct.
Top European dignitaries.
Yes. Now, so when I went there, I became an ambassador for 2 countries. One is Belgium. The other one is what is called Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It's a small country of 650,000 people next to Belgium. Belgium has got approximately 11.5 million people. But the Luxembourg is extremely rich. Very rich.
Very rich country.
Yeah. Despite the size, you will find that it's among the richest economies in the world.
Wow.
Yes, below 20. Oh, yes. It's not a joke.
You're the country's chief scout.
Yeah.
The scouting movement is designed to build an all-round person, right? How would you relate this role with the message in your book, Don't Hesitate?
Yeah, when you become a scout, there's a pledge you make. Let me remind you, are you a scout?
No.
There's a pledge you say, on my honor, I promise to do my best.
Yeah.
That's what you say. On my honor, I promise to do my best.
Right.
To do duty to God and to my country. To serve people at all times. Note, the word is at all times. Right. And to obey scout law. A scout is kind, is courageous. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So it relates to that because when you don't hesitate, it means when you see an opportunity to be associated with, to serve your countrymen and women, grab it, run away with it. That way, we'll see a transformed country.
A bit about your family, your wife and your
Yes,
children.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
I've been very busy. But I realize you can easily forget the most important responsibility in your life. That is fatherhood and by extension motherhood. To me, that is the most important. Because even after all your monies are gone, or even after you have made so much money, finally, what will make you a happy man or woman is how you relate with your children. I want to advise the fathers who are listening to me. Please take time, think about it very hard, and balance your life. Balancing your life means being available to your children when it matters. I'm married for the last 42 years to one Stella Latirido, whom you saw today.
Congratulations.
God has blessed us with the 5 children and 6 grandchildren.
Wow.
So I'm a grandfather.
Excellent.
Yes. Yeah. And it's wonderful to be so lucky like that. It is my children and my wife who have been my cheers. They cheer me up. They have given me support when I need it.
They're your support structure.
Yes.
Now, you have so many awards. Just to mention a few, on the 12th of December 2010, you were awarded Order of the Burning Spear, EBS, by His Excellency, the President of Kenya, Honorable Mwai Kibaki. That was in 2010. And still in recognition of your service to the nation, His Excellency, the President of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, awarded you Elder of the Golden Heart on 12th of December 2015.
Let me mention about the awards. I think it's good to mention the awards. When people recognize your services in Qureshi, your service delivery, you feel very happy. And I will start with a small one. When I was the Deputy Vice Chancellor, there was a Women University of Nairobi Women Association, OSWA. And they recognized our trophy, which I was awarded for being a big brother. It is one of the trophies you see there, because I supported women students' course in the university, and they were very happy up to this day. Then, at some point, because I served Kenya Dental Association for 2 terms. One time, the association collapsed, and I resuscitated the association.
Okay.
They thought and done the entire nation proud. And then when they were asked to nominate me for Errand of the Burning Spear, I was the first person to be nominated for that. And that's how I got it. And in fact, I got that from Francis Modaura and Daktari on behalf of the state. Then at some point, there's something called Pierre Fouchard Academy Award for the distinguished dental service globally. I got it. I got that award. And I want to receive it in Ghana, Accra.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. We've got tons of things that we could discuss, and we could go for the next couple of hours.
Yes.
But let's leave, or rather save some for the next time.
My parting shot.
Yes, okay. Your parting shot.
My parting shot is that, fellow Kenyans, wherever you are, I strongly believe that all of us have talents, however big, however small. And in the course of your duties, you learn and maximally utilize that talent. That wealth of knowledge, that wealth of experience if you have an opportunity to share it, whether orally, whether in black and white, by way of writing books, so be it. That way, it will have a multiplier effect, and it will impact other Kenyans very positively, so that we have a great nation of men and women prepared to be described as achievers. Merry Christmas, happy, prosperous New Year, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
The message to men: do not neglect your duties as a father as you pursue your career. To public servants, do not be tempted with money and a lifestyle that is against your values. Diligence and constant service to the community you live in and the public should not come at a personal cost to you and your family. The lessons from a world-renowned expert in periodontology, career public servant, and now ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg, and the European Union, Ambassador Professor Jacob Kaimenyi. Thank you for joining us on The Living Legends. I'm Fayaz Qureshi.
What's up, family? I am Jane Mamboy Kibera.
My good name is Doreen Arange Okelo.
And now we've been talking about politics, all right? The whole year. Ngojeni tu. Come next year, it will be on another level.
A prosperous 2022 and save the date. January 4th, let us meet here at KBC Channel 1 Good Morning Kenya from 6:30 to 10 a.m.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year!
Youth, my treasure. I will use it to positively build my country, Kenya. Kenya all the way.
And folks dressed up like Eskimos.
Give it up for Karma.
That's right. Go ahead, girl.
My dream is to be a rapper.
They touch on so many important things, but from the point of view of a 10-year-old.
This message is brought to you by the government of Kenya.
Sometimes there isn't a worse enemy than your own heart.